This is the Vaguely Nerdy Podcast, where every week this brother-sister duo gets together to discuss the box office, the latest film and TV scoops, along with our latest movie and show review, and what we're getting into next. We're your host, Cheryl.
And Jay.
Okay, so we're going to doing a throwback review this week. We watched The Craft, which what year did this come out? I forgot that.
96.
1996,
Yep.
y'all. And if you have not seen this, you know what? Don't pause. You should listen to our review and then go back and watch it. Because, I mean, it's still good. You can still watch it even if you know what happens. But Jay is on deck for trivia. Hit me. What you got?
Okay, so The Craft was shot in 1996.
Uh-huh.
And it was filmed in a way that is a method that is returning, that has returned and is returning more recently to more horror films. Or just films in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shot in a way.
Yes. So the way this film was made in a way that is becoming repopularized in filmmaking.
Using practical effects? More practical
No,
effects?
unfortunately, that is not repopularized. Practical effects are not coming back. Unfortunately.
I might need a lifeline.
Okay.
Oh, I think I know. Was Alien shot the same way?
Yes.
Chronologically?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, so The Craft was mostly shot in chronological order, which makes sense. Now that I think about it, rewatching it,
yeah,
it makes sense that it was shot chronologically. That's why a lot of their friendships and the turns were a lot more believable.
Okay. Interesting. You know, I wonder, somebody knows the answer to this, and I'm sure I could Google it real quick, but not why they don't shoot movies that way. Probably because of like schedules and to get certain things probably out of the way and over
nowadays
to VFX.
they don't. Yeah, nowadays they don't use practical sets.
So they probably gotta like shoot certain stuff first to get it out.
So yeah, they shoot certain stuff first to get it out the way.
That makes sense.
And I mean, this movie, when you think about it, was a lot more small scale.
Oh yeah,
So-
yeah, and I guess Alien, I could see how they could do that as well because it's smaller scale.
Yeah, I think Fede Alvarez said he wanted to shoot Alien chronologically so he could like capture the essence of like
People
the
dying.
feeling of death.
Yes,
and
it worked.
its finality.
If you have not seen Alien Romulus, another recommendation to go watch that as well.
That was not so much of a thing in The Craft. The Craft is a lot more of a fun movie, but
Fun is the interesting way.
it's a lot more fun than Alien Romulus.
Sure.
I'd rather be a character in The Craft than a character in Alien Romulus.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah, I would.
Depending on the character. Yes.
Yes. I think a xenomorph is more threatening than Nancy.
Yeah, but one gets you quicker than the other
That's
when you
true.
think about it. You know, one's kind of a slow drag and one's like instant.
Okay, so that is the trivia for this week. We are going to get into the rest of the episode. Welcome, fellow movie buffs. I'm Jay.
I'm Cheryl.
Listen in as we break down movie and TV shows, tell you what's in the plot, and hear if we think you should have watched it when you had the chance.
Dun dun dun. Okay, we've got a bunch of casting news, new movie announcements, but nothing in the trailer park, y'all. Nothing. Zero.
No.
Zilch. Not
The
it's
trailer
empty. It's
dead zone.
closed. All vacancy is open. But we're going to talk about a new movie coming from some pretty big stars and some upcoming stars or star. And then a bunch of crunch. We got some new movie announcements and quite a bit of casting news. So let's start off at the top. Will Smith and Michael Bay, which is kind of like a dynamic duo outside of Will Smith and Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, they left Martin Lawrence at home.
You know what? I'm gonna finish this line and then I'm gonna circle back. So Will Smith and Michael Bay are potentially teaming up for a new movie and a Netflix action film called Fast and Loose. Now, when I think Will Smith might have tweeted this or somebody tweeted about this and Martin Lawrence quoted it and said, "Don't forget about me, man." I was like, now if you in this movie, that's literally Bad Boys 5. So y'all might.
He's not, but I bet Bad Boys 5 is coming.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
It should.
Yeah.
It should at this point. Also, that is available. Bad Boys 4 is available on DVD. If you did not know, go pick that up. But anywho, Fast and Loose is a original film. It follows a man who wakes up in Tijuana, that's in Mexico, with no memories. As he pieces together his past, he learns he has been living two lives. Surprise, surprise. One as a crime kingpin and the other as an undercover CIA agent.
Okay.
I don't don't know how this works technically. I mean, I guess he's like, I guess he's just a typical CIA agent, but I
can't think of what cartoon, but they've parodied this in cartoons before. It's just not, this is accurate as I can get it, but I feel like this has happened on American Dad.
Okay.
Where the alien Roger, who they have an alien Roger who lives in their basement, and every episode is about him. Part of every episode is about him taking on a persona. Because he's an alien, he can't go outside unless he's in a disguise. But he has so many disguises that he forgets what his personalities are.
I can
and
see that.
Sometimes he'll find out that his disguises have conflicting storylines. And that they're beefing with each other.
That's funny. This is not a comedy.
No, it's not a comedy.
This is not a comedy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess it's your typical guys living a double life, but in this case he forgets that he's living a double life. Will Smith playing a crime boss, I'm here for it. Something new. He bad, like,
so he's Mike Lowry and Johnny Tapia.
Boom, at the same time. This sounds good though. I mean, it's Michael Bay, so it's gonna be loud, obnoxious, over the top, big budget. I mean, they obviously did Bad Boys together, so this is a good matchup.
This sounds fun. It's along the lines of Bad Boys. We know what we're going to get with that. Michael Bay, we know what we're getting with him. Lots of explosions, lots of product placements.
Yeah. Product placement.
Very saturated. Color grading.
The
Spinny cam.
The landscapes is gonna be beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have some scantily clad women, of course.
Skinny cam. Will Smith would be sweaty and running somewhere.
Probably topless, no shirt, whatnot, looking buff.
So this will be fun. Yeah, I'm excited to see this.
Will Smith was actually, and I think we talked about this on a podcast because you said the word booger sugar. Will Smith was going to be in a movie called Sugar Bandits.
I totally forgot about that.
I did too until I was reading about this, but he exited that film due to scheduling conflict. So I wonder if this was a scheduling conflict.
Okay.
I mean, if you had to pick, I'm probably gonna pair back up with Michael.
Who was the director of Sugar Bandits?
I don't know.
Did we know? Was the director attached to that?
I don't think it was very far along in like production. I think he was just signed on to play, but they haven't. I don't think they've replaced him. So
Stefano Salima.
That doesn't ring a bell. So Michael Bay must have called like, "Hey, Will, you're busy." And Will was like, "Well, I can be unbusy." Oh,
Stefano Salima is known for Without Remorse and Sicario, Day of the Soldado, which is not the first Sicario.
Okay.
And Gomorrah, basically a bunch of like
smaller
military crime action thrillers. He has like a long filmography.
Well, that makes sense because Sugar Bandits was about, I don't know if he was a cop or he was one of the bandits, but about taking down the drugs in Boston or something.
Yeah, former Special Forces soldier joins an elite vigilante squad aiming to wipe out the drug trade in Boston, but he soon learns things are not what they seem.
He is the crime boss, so I'm just playing.
I don't know. This is very similar to the plot of the Michael Bay movie. So.
I'm here for more Will Smith movies. I'm also here for a Will Smith Michael Bay team up. So we will bring you more news as we learn about that one.
The next bit of news we have is Henry Cavill is jumping on another franchise. This time it's for Voltron.
His other one is
releasing his inner nerd further and further and further out.
What's the other one? Not Homelander.
Warhammer
Hammer
40K?
Machine. Yes. Whatever that is.
It's a video game.
Highlander. That's what I was thinking.
Highlander. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So Warhammer, Highlander.
Now Voltron.
The Witcher. Voltron, Superman.
Which is what he should have stayed with, but anywho, go ahead.
So he'll be joining the cast of Voltron. There is going to be a live-action Voltron movie. This was the first I've heard of that, too, so I guess there's 2 announcements. I don't know if we previously discussed this on the show before.
Nope. This is 2-piece combo news.
This is another project that's going to be coming from Amazon MGM, Warhammer 40K. The live-action Warhammer 40K was supposed to also come from Amazon.
You're right. Ain't Highlander MGM, too?
Maybe that's like his studio now.
Hey, if they couldn't have checked, why not?
So plot details are unknown. We don't know much about what this movie is going to be about, but let's talk about Voltron.
I was going to say it's Voltron.
So Voltron is an animated series.
What they trying to hide?
That started in 1984, at least in America. I'm not sure if Voltron originated from Japanese or if it didn't, it was stolen.
Surprise.
Like Power Rangers and all good things we have in the West.
No, I was going to say.
So it is basically Power Rangers, except for powering up and having super suits. They immediately jump to the Megazords.
They're literally turned to Transformers, right?
Yeah. And it's they're all like beast-based robots, and they combine and turn into a giant robot that fights off the forces of evil, usually something that comes from outer space.
So did they take that from Power Rangers, or did Power Rangers take that from
It's all like Super Sentai and Power Rangers. It's all like derivative of each other, and they just turn it into something else.
Gotcha.
So this is kind of like Gundam in a way.
Yep, Gundam Wing. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So it does say it was an adaptation of a Japanese anime television series from Toei, which we know Toei has made basically every good Sailor Moon. I mean, every anime that we grew up watching on mainstream Saturday morning cartoons. We don't know what his role is going to be, but we do know that Voltron is basically about like a cast of random characters who have like special skills.
Team.
They're in some sci-fi form of a military.
Yeah.
They all get their own like Megazord that comes with their own like unique abilities and special powers. It's going to be about friendship. I'm very interested to see what the
loss and loyalty.
It seems like they're going older for the cast because when I think about Voltron, I think about teenagers.
He's not a young whippersnapper. You're right.
So they might be going older for the cast. Or maybe
he's like the villain. Maybe Henry Cavill villain. We ain't got that in a while. I like Henry Cavill villain. He need to get back in his villain bag.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know who he would be like, what character, but sure.
So we do have a director. Director is going to be Ronson Marshall Thurber, who previously directed the Netflix film Red Notice. So high expectations.
So I was already kind of like, why are we doing this? And then I saw the director and I was like, I'm checked out. I'm out of here. Goodbye, world.
Interested to see what iteration of Voltron this will be.
Okay.
I like Power Rangers, like Gundam, all anime things.
Yeah.
This has gone through 1,000 different revivals.
Of course.
It's gone from lion robots to gladiator robots to vehicle robots. But it's never been live action. But we did have a live action Power Rangers.
We did. Mm-hmm. And that didn't go well.
Hopefully it'll be more like the live action Speed Racer, which I feel like was underappreciated. People didn't appreciate Speed Racer's live action film until like years and years and years later when they realized that the art style of that film was completely different than anything else.
It never beats the original. I mean, it's hard to, but it's like, why not just make a new animated Voltron? I mean, why not? Like
I would encourage them to just do a fully animated Voltron film if Transformers did well. If Transformers can't do well, Voltron won't.
Okay. I was going to say, won't they do like Transformers? But you're saying...
That's silly to say because they're different franchises, but I think Transformers is a lot more popular and well-known in the mainstream today, and people won't even go out to see that.
Transformers
even when it's good.
So trying to chug along. It's got a lifeline in the box office.
This needs
Great
to
movie,
and Transformers had a really, really good cast too. And I think this needs to be live action so that they can put people's faces in front of it to try to convince them to go out to see it.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
You're right.
I would totally support like a Transformers 1 style Voltron movie because that animation was good.
The movie period was
Animated films are good.
Right.
Yeah.
You make up a good point about Transformers not doing well. You're right. Live action it is, I guess.
So interested to see this. Henry Cavill loves nerdy stuff just like we do. He also seems to be committed to the source material and staying faithful to it, even if at the expense of his own job. So we at least know that when it does come out, it'll at least be faithful to the source material and close and of good quality.
Right. You know what? Henry Cavill still, after that whole Superman debacle, he's still like, I ain't down for the count.
No.
I got a baby to feed.
And he clearly finds his own projects. So that's good for him.
He stay booked. Good for him.
And the last bit of news we have this week is for another revival. Because nothing new exists. No.
And people don't go see it. No,
this is for another reboot of a popular film called The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy they doing this. In this 2024 times, I'm surprised.
So this is going to star Michael Monroe, who we just saw in Longlegs, and will be in the It Follows sequel.
Correct.
That's coming out soon. And Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who we saw in Birds of Prey. And she's got another film coming out called The Flu, which I do want to see.
She was also in Ahsoka, right?
Yes, she was in Ahsoka.
And fun fact, she is Ewan McGregor's wife, if you didn't.
Yes, she is. She's got a movie coming out called The Rich. I think where it's about somebody releases a flu that only it's a flu that only affects the rich. and only the rich start to die
from it. Is this the
from
movie
it.
with the guy from The Bear?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Good for working people. Michael Monroe will play the antagonist in this, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead will play the protagonist. I don't have I haven't seen the original Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Have you?
Yes.
Okay.
So first of all, this is good. This is perfect casting, by the way. Michael Monroe is a crazy woman who trying to go after another woman, right up her alley. So the original,
is this like single white female?
Not quite. So the original Hands That Rock the Cradle was about a woman who had a horrible husband, and I think the husband goes to jail, kills him. Something happens to him. It's not good. And as revenge, she goes after one of his victims. And I believe, if I remember correctly, like she ends up being her nanny or something. And she, like the main lady is pregnant. I think she has a baby, and I think if I remember this correctly, the ex-husband's crazy wife, or the dead husband's crazy wife, comes and like wreaks havoc on the lady's life as revenge.
Interesting.
So Michael Monroe, I mean, she was good in Long Legs as far as like she was a good character, like she was not crazy or evil, but I could see her playing a crazy evil person.
So it's going to be a thriller.
Yeah, something like that. So what does it say? After her sex offender husband gets caught in the act and kills himself, she embarks on a mission of vengeance against one of her husband's victims in the woman's family. And if I recall, the cradle reference,
victim?
Because she's crazy. If I recall, the lady had a baby, and that's where the cradle reference comes from, if I'm not mistaken.
So Michael Monroe's husband commits suicide because he R-worded a bunch of people.
He's a horrible person, right?
And she goes to work for Mary Elizabeth Winstead as her baby's caretaker to torture her for being a victim?
Yes. Dun, dun, dun. The original is from 1992. Oh, it's just you and the Hand That Rocks the Cradle are the same age. Crazy nanny, right up her alley. And I think Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I think she could play a good, like, mom, family woman who's like terrified of whoever this person is.
So it says the original screenplay was written by Amanda Silver, and the film was executive produced by Rick Jaffa, who later went on to make Jurassic Park.
Oh, okay.
And Planet of the Apes.
I didn't know that.
We're going to get good writing.
I mean, I think they got the casting right. They're going to have to get the writing and directing right, too.
So Michelle Garza Cervera will direct the picture. They already have a director, I guess.
Okay.
And Micah Bloomberg is going to be writing the script.
I'm actually very interested in this. Even though I know some reboots, people are like, why are you rebooting it? I'm kind of interested just based on the casting, to be honest.
Yeah, we're in a renaissance of old classic films.
Like we're doing War of the Roses over.
War of the Roses, the Thomas Crown Affair.
Yes.
And now this, so.
All of those, like if they gonna reboot some movies, go like way back. Don't reboot something that came out 2 days ago.
They added a prequel to Rosemary's Baby.
I didn't hear much about that though. Is that any good?
The first Omen they went back and added to the Omen movie. So
right.
I saw the first Omen. I didn't hear anything about
Rosemary. Apartment 7A.
Apartment 7A, yeah.
Interesting. It just kind of came and went.
So that is all the news we have for this week. We're going to skip the trailer park and drive by. We'll drive by. We're sad as we're driving by.
Beep, beep.
And let's dive into this Buncha Crunch.
That's me driving by the trailer park.
Okay, so first scoop of crunch. I feel like every episode for the past couple of weeks we've had Green Lantern
At
news.
least 3.
So continuing the trend, we have more Green Lantern news. Officially casted Aaron Pierre as the John Stewart of the DC Studios version of Green Lantern. I think he's going to be their entry into the Justice League.
Right.
So last week we had announced that Kyle Chandler was casted as Hal Jordan, who is original Recipe Green Lantern. And the week before that, we were talking about the fact that they were looking for lanterns for Green Lantern.
I mean, next week they might as well just give us something else just to keep it going.
We have our lanterns. Aaron Pierre is going to be playing a younger version of John Stewart, who is in training, working with Hal Jordan, who will be played by Kyle Chandler.
Supposed to be old and disgruntled, right?
Right. And they are investigating a murder in the American West. It's going to be a True Detective style series. I like the fact now that Kyle Chandler is going to be like old troubled Hal Jordan, because in the comics Hal Jordan went evil for a little bit and then had to come back to the light side. He became a Yellow Lantern.
You know what I would kind of like if they did it like Seven, where John Stewart was like Brad Pitt and Hal Jordan was like Morgan Freeman. That would be kind of different.
So something that Hal Jordan and Scarlet Witch have in common is that they both lost their minds, their freaking minds, and went over to the dark side, wreaked havoc, and created a comic book style event where they had to be taken down by all of their other superheroes.
Now they should do that. Ooh, what if that's like the end of this series?
I wonder if this is going to be a post Yellow. So with Wanda, she turned to the Scarlet Witch.
Right.
With Hal Jordan, he turned to the Yellow Lantern and went from green to yellow. Yellow is
yellow's supposed to be intimidating.
Yellow is what there are different. There are different types of lanterns. Okay. There are rings for every color.
Oh. I didn't know that.
And the different rings have different meanings.
Okay.
The green is the good. I don't specifically know the meaning for that, but I think yellow lantern yellow is the color for fear. So you wear the yellow ring if fear rules you and you use fear to rule others. So he went bad. He had to be taken down, a la Scarlet Witch. He had to make the sacrifice play because they couldn't take him down.
Of course.
But he eventually came back and was good. And had to do a lot to to get his ring back. He had to get the Green Lantern ring back and earn it, but he had to do a lot to earn the trust of like the Justice League and the other characters in the DC universe after that.
I kind of hope they don't kill him off so we can get that storyline.
I wonder if there's going to be a post-evil Hal Jordan where he's come back and he's trying to right his wrongs by teaching John Stewart how to be the better Green Lantern.
Maybe. I mean, there's going to have to be some sort of like why he's so mad.
Because what makes him troubled.
Right,
Other
exactly.
than the fact that I don't think it was...
It's got to be some reason why he's just being a jerk.
I think it was Kyle Gardner's girlfriend that was stuffed in the fridge, so it wasn't his. So I don't think he lost his girlfriend. I
mean, I guess they could add anything they want, technically.
So, interested in that.
Yeah.
Good cast, good characters. Aaron Pierre is just coming off of Rebel Ridge, which is still like high on the charts on Netflix original films. Kyle Chandler, which is our next note, is still securing jobs, which we will get into.
I told y'all his filmography is long as heck, and he has no intention on stopping. Good for him.
Directed by the Slow Horses director.
Yes.
So we're super interested in this. But more on Kyle Chandler news. He'll also be in the R.I.P. movie for Netflix.
That we talked about last week.
So he's going to be in R.I.P. alongside Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Tiana Taylor's going to be in this as well. And Sasha Kaye is going to be in this as well. So everybody would have been a superhero except for Tiana Taylor.
Yes.
Which is surprising.
Kevin.
I think Tiana Taylor would fit good in a superhero role.
Anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Ooh, she could be Vixen.
Oh, in DC, right? Because that's Green Lantern's boo.
And one. Yeah. Oh. I mean, he unfortunately does not stay with her. He goes for Hawk Girl.
Yeah. So. Okay. That was I saw that. I saw that.
They had great chemistry in the DC animated series of the comics.
Well, Storm and T'Challa didn't stay together, right?
That is true.
I feel like superheroes are not destined to be happy together.
We choose to forget that they broke up.
Exactly.
Because they technically only worked together for a little bit.
Right.
So excited to see Kyle Chandler in R.I.P. as well, and just the R.I.P. movie in general.
It sounds like it's shaping up to be a
good crime
cast.
Thriller. Drug dealers police officers who come across a large stash of drugs.
Correct.
Yeah.
Drugs or cash, one of the two.
We still don't know who is going to be playing who in that film.
Correct.
But it is going to be going to Netflix. I tweeted this announcement and said we're in a Kyle Chandler renaissance.
Hey.
Because I feel like we haven't seen him in a lot.
He's been in quite a bit of TV things that we didn't watch.
The last film I saw him in was a small part of the last Godzilla x Kong film.
Okay.
But
he was big on the Friday Night Lights show, I think it's called, but I didn't.
And Grace.
And he got blown up on Grace. But I didn't watch his TV work. I'm more familiar with his film work. So, yeah.
Next scoop of Crunch is Amber Midthunder will be in... Oh, sorry. I skipped a Crunch.
I mean, because I was rolling because we just mentioned Matt Damon. Now we got more Matt Damon news.
Next scoop,
all in order.
Next scoop of Crunch is more people getting more jobs. Like we said last week, Matt Damon is somebody who is never out of work.
I literally just said this.
He has secured another job, and we still don't even know what this job is. But
what he doing?
He is going to be, he is in talks to star in the next Christopher Nolan film, which is supposed to be released with Universal in July of 2026. interesting tidbit.
Nolan said, "Oh, you gonna say it?"
No, you go ahead and say it then.
He said, "I ain't going back to WB ever."
He also said they're not allowed to read the script.
They could.
I thought that was hilarious.
The tweet that I saw said that WB didn't even get the heads didn't even get the chance before Universal was like, "Oh, by the way, we got Nolan's next movie.
Yeah.
Get y'all at lunch."
Absolutely. And he also, they pointed out the fact that they tried to make nice with the royalty check for the $1 million royalty check that they gave him
for Tenet.
Because they released that against his wishes, which I'm still not on his side about that.
Well,
I get not wanting to.
The word is, I guess it first came out and said that he wanted to release his movie regardless. But I guess what actually happened was the studio was like, "We releasing your movie regardless," and he didn't want to yet.
Okay.
So it actually is the reverse. Christopher Nolan didn't want that movie to come out. It was cold.
I believe that because WB plays it fast and loose with PR and how they leak stories. So it makes more sense that WB was like, "We will put this out at the risk of people dying of COVID."
Right, because Tenet came out, peak top of the numbers COVID. And everybody was like, "Why are y'all putting this movie out?" And the rumor was that Christopher Nolan was like, "It's my movie. You need to see it in the theaters."
Yeah.
But come to find out, WB.
And they kind of let that fly.
Right. WB said, "We putting this movie out." And word is he didn't want to put it out yet. So he has left the coop and is not going back, clearly.
Either way, Tenet was good.
I like Tenet.
Christopher Nolan film we saw was Oppenheimer, which won Best Picture.
Yep.
Which was really good.
Also,
it was really long, though.
It was close to a Billy.
Here's hoping this one isn't 3 hours.
Yeah,
doesn't need to be.
It will.
But it's Christopher Nolan. Hopefully this goes back to sci-fi. Oppenheimer is really good, but that's as real as I need Christopher Nolan to be.
Agreed.
It's time to get back
I need a good twist.
Yeah, it's time to get back into the otherworldliness.
Yes,
Christopher
please.
Nolan. That's what we like
more
from
Tenet,
you.
more Inception.
Yes.
Those types of things.
I don't want anything to be as grounded as Batman from Christopher Nolan again. I want everything to be. Yeah, Batman was still even. Batman was more realistic than Inception and Tenet.
Oh, absolutely.
So I need him to go back to
weirdness.
I need to be confused by the end of the movie again.
You're right.
I need a Reddit thread.
There's no confusion about Oppenheimer.
No.
Or Batman.
No.
Okay, I feel you. We want sci-fi Nolan back. I got you.
Next Super Crunch on the list is Amber Midthunder. She is from Prey, and she was in the Roswell reboot series that you did not watch, but it wasn't good. But I liked her in it.
Okay.
But she will be in Monarch Legacy of Monsters season 2. So she's going to join Anna Sawai and the rest of the cast over there.
I love that show.
Extremely excited about that. Amber Midthunder was really, really good in Prey.
Quite liked Prey.
So good that they're doing another one with Dakota Fanning.
Sister. Elle Fanning.
Elle Fanning. Yes.
Elle Fanning.
They're doing another one with Elle Fanning.
I said that like I knew it was her sister when we talked about that, and I was like, "What?" And now I'm saying it like I was the authority on that news.
Interested to see what type of character she's going to play.
So you need to go watch season 1. We also have an episode for that. Good show.
Yep.
Good show.
Excited to see Monarch Legacy of Monsters season 2.
I think they're already filming.
More Godzilla. We were promised more Kong. Still unsure if that's the same Kong, because that Kong looked like more gray, much older than original Kong. Yeah. And we're still not caught up to present day.
No, and they haven't said if or how these connect. So, yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I hope they don't pull an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. thing where they decide it no longer matters.
Oh, no, because Legacy of Monsters probably has the best human storyline of any Kong, Godzilla, anything. Yeah. So they really nailed it there like that.
All right, next scoop of crunch we have is a movie announcement called I Like Boosters. This is going to be directed by director Boots Riley, who is he is an activist who has been around for an extremely long time, but he doesn't have a long filmography. But his last directorial film was Sorry to Bother You, which starred Lakeith Stanfield.
Sure did.
Which I think was about code switching, which is very funny. So, like that. He also did the I'm a Virgo television series. I think that went to Amazon.
Okay. I don't think I've heard of that.
And it starred one of the actors from Moonlight.
Okay.
Starting that as well. So this is going to be going to Neon, same people who made Long Legs. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a spooker, though. This is going to star Keke Palmer, Lakeith Stanfield. We just saw Lakeith Stanfield in
Book of Clarence.
Naomi Ackie, who we just saw in
blanking. Blink twice.
Yes.
That's
Blink
funny
twice.
because I blanked and then that cued me to the movie name.
She'll also be in Mickey 17.
She will. And she was also in Star Wars, which I forgot.
Yes. So
she also played Whitney Houston. Sorry.
And Whitney Houston. So shout out to Naomi Ackie.
Yep.
And Demi Moore, who I guess we're in a Demi Moore renaissance.
Demi Moore. I don't think we need to.
No, she's Demi
her.
Moore. Let's see. Favorite Demi Moore. Ghost. Charlie's Angels. And she was really, really good in Charlie's Angels too.
G.I. Jane.
As the evil angel.
Yeah.
G.I. Jane. And she just had The Substance come out.
Which has been getting, you want to see real bad.
I want to see it really bad because
I like handle it.
I like horror films.
But you said body horror, and I was like, checked out.
It does have body horror in it, but I get what the point of it is.
I mean, you explained it, so I get it. But
so shout out to Demi Moore. We're in a Demi Moore renaissance as well. Lots of actors coming back. So this film is going to center on a ring of Enterprise boosters, and it has in quote shoplifters, equal opportunists. Shoplifters and equal opportunists are not the same.
I mean, yeah, I mean they're boosters, so everybody know what a booster is.
Who take aim at a cutthroat fashion maven.
Now, is Maven person or is Maven like a company? I wonder.
It says fashion maven, and I think Maven is going to be Demi Moore.
Because she is the only white person in this list.
She's the only white person in the list.
Yeah.
I feel like Maven was an interesting choice of word to use in the description.
That's why I was like, Maven are they mean like a person, or are they going after like a whole corporation?
Well, and she's the oldest.
She also is the oldest.
Yeah, so it would
That
make
makes
more
sense
that she would fit into like the. It seems like they're going to paint her as like evil Anna Wintour.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was thinking of
Miranda
Priestley.
Or Amanda Priestley. Yeah. So basically a ring of boosters are going to be going after like this really rich fashion entrepreneur. We're not sure what they it feels like it's going to be a little Oceansy.
It's given black comedy almost.
Yeah,
maybe not black comedy, straight up. Maybe it's a straight up comedy.
In Cutthroat shows she's clearly evil. Maybe they're going to steal something from her, steal her ideas or something.
Or maybe their boosting is wrecking her business.
Or wrecking her business.
Like really bad.
I wonder what she did to them.
Or they just targeting her because, oppression.
Yeah, and this is purely speculation.
We ain't got no other
Demi
plot
Moore
details.
could also be one of the boosters. We're fine with that too.
She could be.
She does play a really good leading.
We're literally writing the script live in action.
She plays a really good leading villain. Yeah. Keke Palmer is a really good lead. She has great comedic timing. She was in Nope. You didn't see Nope because you are afraid of monkeys.
I was afraid of anything. I ain't a horror movie person, y'all. They say horror and I'm automatically like,
We love seeing Keke Palmer and stuff. She's got that SZA movie coming out.
She does.
Under Issa Rae as well. We're excited about. Lakeith Stanfield was really good in The Book of Clarence, but we just weren't a huge fan of the film.
But we did like him in Haunted Mansion and Heart of Day Fall.
Yeah, and Lakeith Stanfield's just a good actor
I love to hate his character in Heart of Day Fall. Oh my God, but he played it really well.
And we love to see Naomi Ackie in things. And she's a good actress. She was really good in Blink Twice as well.
Her character. She played
her
that
character was a little frustrating.
She played that character though. I'll give her that.
But it looks like she's gonna be a little kooky in the Bong Joon-ho movie. So I'm interested to see her portraying that.
Good for Naomi.
And last scoop on the list is for a fresh scoop that we just got a few hours ago, and that is that Wild Robot 2 is officially in the works at DreamWorks.
Now, I feel like they should have held off on that because I ain't seen the movie, and I was like, well, I know what happens at the end.
Yeah, so everybody lives.
I mean, maybe everybody doesn't, but we know one person
at least Lupita does.
Right.
Yeah.
The robot is still, but I learned it is a book series.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't know that.
There's 3 books there, and I don't know. I can't remember the name of the second book. It's not Wild Robot 2.
Okay.
But there's also a 3rd book. So I was like, oh, okay. So she must live. But I didn't know if the book and the movie had the same ending. Now they obviously probably do.
This makes sense. Audiences loved it.
It's doing good at the box office.
Doing really good at the box office. DreamWorks has not had the opportunity to put out a really big hit in quite some time. So it makes total sense that they are going to go ahead and follow up with what stuck.
They're trying to do Inside Out 2 situation. I ain't mad at it. I just saw this is going to video on demand on the October 15th. So if you haven't seen it, you'll be able to see it at home here in a couple days.
Yeah.
Depending on when you listen to this.
I think they're following up. Who was Inside Out?
Disney.
Disney was Inside Out.
Or Disney Pixar.
I think the only other DreamWorks thing that's being worked on right now is the Shrek 5 that's coming out.
Yes, correct.
Shout out to DreamWorks.
Shout out to Lupita.
And Lupita.
Getting their checks.
Yeah, she was doing a lot of press on this. She was at Comic-Con.
She was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she was. And we missed that because we was trying to do 12 other things. So busy at that thing.
All right, so that is all of the movie news, no trailer park, and Buncha Crunch that we have for this week. We're going to take a short break and get into our retro review of the week, which is for The Craft.
That's my witchy laugh.
Okay.
This week, we did a retro review, and we are reviewing the horror movie The Craft, which was released May 3rd, 1996. So we coming up almost on his 30th year anniversary. Yeah. It was directed by Andrew Fleming, and I looked up, and I couldn't. He's done other things, but I was trying to find something I was more familiar with, and I didn't find anything. But he is actually the director and executive producer of the current Netflix show, Emily in Paris. So he's got a thing for women leads.
Yay for working, I guess.
Yay for working. There we go. Casting characters of The Craft include, if you have never seen this movie, we're going to run down it like we typically do. Robin Tooney, who plays Sarah Bailey. It's funny, I'd be like, I don't recognize these last names. Fairuza Balk plays Nancy Downs, although I do remember Nancy's last name. Neve Campbell plays Bonnie Harper. Rachel True plays Rochelle Zimmerman. That ain't a black girl last name. Skeet Ulrich plays Chris Hooker, and Christine Taylor plays Laura Lizzie. Now, there's other people in this movie, but them all the people you really need to know in this. Like, there's moms and dads and teachers and all
Shop
that.
owners.
Exactly. You're fine. Oh, yeah. Shop owner. You're totally fine. Those are our main squeezes in this movie. The runtime is 1 hour and 41 minutes, which is nice and straight and to the point. Budget. Now, remember, y'all, this 1996. So the budget was $15 million, which is like not even Joaquin Phoenix's salary for the
won't
Joker.
even show up for that.
Robert Downey Jr. will be like, excuse me, I am not getting up for that. Try again. But that is the budget for this film. Box office, and this is total box office, was $55.6 million. So that is more than 3.5 times the cost. So I would say that's a box office success.
Absolutely.
I think they called it a sleeper hit. And it was like the invigoration of which female witch movies.
Oh yeah, this set the tone for like which
exactly.
movies
So
going
it not only did it have a good box office as a sleeper hit, it also is cultural impact.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
Even now in the Agatha All Along end credits, there's a scene from The Craft.
I mean, we have Charmed because of The Craft.
Hello.
So
I mean,
yeah,
like
impact.
I said, if you are one of the rare ones who have never seen this movie, you need to watch it this spooky season.
You'd probably be surprised how many things, if you've never seen this movie, if you watch it, you'd be surprised by how many things you've recognized from other films that have taken from this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Literally from the beginning.
Or like just the people in it. You're like, oh, I didn't know they were in this. And
Yeah,
they were in
absolutely.
this way before they were in whatever you've seen them in.
Yeah.
So cinema score, we don't have one. Rotten Tomato score wasn't loved by the critics, but who cares? 57%. You don't have to be loved by the critics to have cultural impact, okay? Nope. Audience score a little high, 65. Who cares?
Yeah.
You don't need to have a high.
This is a cult classic.
To be a cult classic, okay? Maybe Megalopolis might be like this, in like 30-something years. We might be like, that was Adam Driver's best movie.
Okay.
Maybe. No, I don't think so. Anywho, a budget was way too big for it to even.
No.
Mm-mm. Other little tidbit about this movie that I did not know was that Angelina Jolie, Scarlett Johansson, and Alicia Silverstone all auditioned to play the role of Sarah, but they all obviously did not get it. I think
I could definitely
Alicia Silverstone would have fit.
I could see Angelina Jolie as Sarah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. A blonde Angelina Jolie.
I don't think anybody else could have been Nancy.
Or not blonde. Angelina's got a little dark hair nowadays.
She could have either been Bonnie or Sarah. Angelina Jolie. Alicia Silverstone definitely could have been
Sarah.
Laura.
Okay. That is like Laura. Okay, fine, sure. I don't want Alicia Silverstone to be Laura, though.
She was kind of already Laura. Clueless.
I mean, but she wasn't racist, though. That's a big difference. Laura was I forgot
You forgot how racist Laura was.
She says a word that I've never even heard before.
Takes
And
you back, doesn't it?
I was like, girl, don't nobody use that word for black people.
Yeah, that takes you back.
Anywho, another tidbit that I don't have this in here, but because I was looking up random facts about this movie. So Rachel True's character who plays Rochelle, she's black.
Half and half.
There you go, half and half. She originally, the storyline of her being the outcast in the school, because they go to a public school, and Rochelle's like the only black girl there.
Okay.
So she faces racism. They did not include that plot line until Rachel got cast. So they added that after the fact.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense because that was the only thing that they had that other than her just obviously being black. That was the only thing that they had that excluded her.
Right, because everybody had like something. Like,
everybody else had something that made them an outcast, I guess.
Exactly. So I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
And I guess it being black in 96 is strange.
At a it's literally like an all-white Catholic school.
The ingredients are there for the weirdness.
But Laura, the character of Laura used the word, and I was just like, girl, don't nobody use that.
It's honestly funny.
Never heard it before.
Like when people say when people do racism so badly, and it almost makes you laugh.
Yeah, because
it kind of made me laugh because I was like, this is so antiquated.
She said it, and because it's not the N word with the hard R at the end. It's something else, and I was just like, what?
Right. This
Girl,
is such an old way to express that you
It's
don't
almost
like
if the writer's like, well, we don't want to use that word, so let's just make up something.
Yeah, outdated racism is the funniest.
Oh my gosh. So let's get into the plot of the Craft movie.
So the plot of the Craft movie is Robin Tunney plays Sarah, who is moving to a new city. She's moving to San Francisco, to be specific.
Yep.
I'm sorry, from San Francisco to Los Angeles.
Okay.
They look very similar in this film in 1996.
Right.
But she's moving to LA.
Kind of a minor plot point anyway.
And she has the growing pains of being a teenager, moving to a new city with no friends. She's also not coming fresh off of a tragedy, but she is moving with her dad and her stepmom because her mom has passed. Yep. But when she gets to LA, she becomes friends with 3 other girls who she finds out are all witches, and they all fall in line with each other because Sarah is a natural witch.
Oh, I said, or wannabe witches. How would you classify that? Because they weren't doing that special before.
Yeah, I guess you can make the argument that they weren't full witches. Well, I mean, you know what? I think Agatha has taught us that everyone can be a witch. It's about unlocking your
There you go.
power.
They were in practice.
Yes, they're witches in training.
Witch interns.
Sarah came and shared a little bit of the Force with them.
She sure did.
And the 4 of them form a coven of friendship. And have to face one of them turning to the dark side.
Yes. One of them turning Anakin Skywalker, essentially.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That is a good synopsis. So let's talk. It's funny. Are we going to do like spoilers and non-spoilers? Or we just
I have non-spoiler thoughts.
Okay, cool.
For people who haven't watched it.
Fair enough. For you people who are almost 30 years late, we will do non-spoiler thoughts for you.
I think Agatha all along has revived interest in the craft. And there are people who have never seen the craft that are actually discovering it for the first time. So
you need to correct your spooky season right now and watch this movie.
I mean, you will enjoy Agatha all along much better if you know what the craft is.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Non-spoiler thoughts. Let's hit it.
Okay. Non-spoiler thoughts. I still love this movie.
It's still good.
It still sets the tone. It set the tone going forward in 1996 about witchcraft films.
Yes.
Coven. How covens are portrayed in film.
Right.
Especially like women-led ensemble cast. It set the tone for that going forward.
Yes.
96 was such a good year. We got Craft in March.
Yes. Or May.
May. And we got Scream in December.
Ooh.
So.
Yes. Good for horror.
Great year at the movies. I liked each of the characters. I liked that each character got time to shine.
Agree.
We got scenes with them together, but we got scenes with them alone as individuals in their personal lives with their families or their friends. And
except Rochelle.
Well, we didn't
notice she the only one whose parents didn't get shown.
We didn't get parent backstory with Rochelle.
Like,
I guess we didn't get any. I guess we didn't get any familial issues with Rochelle because she didn't have any. She just had like outside of the home issues.
That was enough.
Which was enough.
That was enough.
So I did notice that we didn't meet Rochelle's parents, but maybe Rochelle's home life was actually
because I was
fine.
literally like, now where Rochelle mom and daddy?
All of Rochelle's probably were outside the home.
They clearly got money because she going to this private school.
Right. So I do like the fact that we got time with each of the characters. All the exposition was show don't tell.
Yes.
We, instead of them sitting down and telling us Nancy's backstory or telling us Sarah's backstory, we actually see Nancy's awful home life situation with her mom's abusive boyfriend in the trailer park.
Her mom, who's clearly like an alcoholic.
Right. We get scenes with Bonnie and her issues with her scars. We get a conversation with Sarah and her parents and with the girls about her mom dying and her attempted suicide. So I like the fact that we get the show don't tell.
Yes.
And they have good cast chemistry.
Agree.
I believe that they were friends.
Yes.
I believe why they would be friends. They seem to have, outside of witchcraft, they are all troubled teens who seem to have a lot in common.
Yeah.
So I got the sisterhood. That made sense. I did like the way the sisterhood played out. It was very believable. The scar scene, they were there for each other. They were real friends.
Agree.
They supported each other.
Even
Nancy was nice to them until she like flipped at the end. But they were good to each other.
Right.
The scar scene where Nancy's like blessing her scars to try to help them go away.
Yep.
Talking openly about Sarah's suicide.
Yep.
When the first time they meet her, they notice that she had slashed her wrist and they like talk about the way that she did.
Bonnie was like, "You did it the right way," and Rochelle's like, "What?"
Right. So
what do you mean?
How do you know?
Right.
So I like the fact that they were able to talk openly about that and not grill her. But I did also like that even after they fell out halfway through the film, they regathered after Sarah was almost assaulted by Skeet Ulrich.
They did.
She went to Rochelle's house to just see Rochelle. Well, I mean, probably because that was the closest house she could get to at the time. But I like the fact that they regathered even though they had just fell out earlier.
Right.
To support Sarah and resolve that situation the way it ended up.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit of a coming of age story because it's about teenagers.
Yeah.
And
I guess for all of them.
It's about teenagers discovering friend group when it's time to step away.
Right.
When it's time to confront your friends when they're doing something bad.
Living through high school drama. Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah,
you're correct.
So I liked all of those aspects about the film. Those are my non-spoiler thoughts.
I would say non-spoilery. I like that. I agree with everything you said. I like that the witchcraft was a little subtle. Yeah. So it wasn't, I'm sure they had some CGI in
no
this,
wavy fingers,
but there was no like, wands and like purple stuff flying here and sparks and flames. It was very kind of like, oh, you're doing some little witchery. I see you. So I like that. I like that Sarah came into the group and it wasn't that typical girl comes into the friend group and then breaks them all up. So they like
she didn't Yoko Ono the group.
It wasn't like exactly. It wasn't like divided because she did. I mean, they basically when they have their little spat, they go back the way they were before when Sarah wasn't there. So I like that. I will say it aged well. I mean, outside of the outdated N-word, I don't think there was anything that I was like, yeah, this wouldn't. I mean, they didn't have like social media and phones. The gossip spread by word of mouth, okay? Old school. So that was the only thing that was like outdated about the movie. But it's still like the runtime was good. The script was tight. All the acting is still like, there's not any, but even, what's his name? Skeet Ulrich's character. Can't think of his name. Friends. Chris. Even his friends came off like, I mean, they were annoying, jerky friends, but it was still like the acting was still pretty
typical
good.
Real people.
Wasn't cheesy or anything like that. So it was it still holds up, I think, after all these years. And I like that we have the good versus bad magic, but it's coming from the same source. So a lot of times when it's magic, you got magic coming from like the Darkhold, for example, and it's bad. And then you have magic coming from like love and friendship. So that's the good magic. But this particular movie, they get their powers from the same source, but depending on how the character uses is what result you get. Yeah. So I like that little plot.
I agree. I like the fact that the magic is what you make it.
Right. Yeah. And it got real dark at the end. Like this at the end you kind of like, these girls is crazy. Yeah. But I mean, teenagers be teenaging. Yeah. So that's what that was.
Okay, so those are our non-spoiler thoughts. Did you have any other notes that you wanted to throw out before we get into spoilers?
The music was funny. Just because the music, it was a sign of the times. I'm like, this music is good. This music is very 1996.
It is. But I loved it. And I love that opening credit sequence. That was one of my first notes.
Yeah.
The PowerPoint opening credit sequence with the flashing, the special effects that are real effects.
Right. Okay, maybe that was dated. But other than that, it was all the effects and stuff still held up.
Okay, so let's talk about the characters. And we are getting into our spoiler section in 3, 2, 1.
So, top of the list, Sarah Bailey. Sarah is our naive teenager.
Yes.
Well, another tidbit, none of these girls is teenagers in real life in this movie.
No, they're all like mid-20s.
Mid-20s. I think Rachel True was almost 30. She was 29. Or she either turned 30 during the taping or she was like 29.
But that's how it was back in the day. And that's honestly made television and movies a lot better. I like my high schoolers being played by full adults.
Right, because they had some experience and they knew what it was like living through all of being a teenager because they were already teenagers.
And they were known faces. Like, you have to cast adults who have been in stuff to be in these movies because nobody knows who the teen actors are at that time. Nobody's going to go see them in the theater.
Right. But so Sarah Bailey is our naive teenager. I liked her character, but I also like the fact that she learned her lesson pretty quick. So she is told by Nancy not to mess around with Chris because Chris is a player from everybody, and Nancy got some experience, and she don't listen because she's a teenager. And I like that pretty quickly she does learn. Although I will say the fact that her wish is for Chris to like her, quite foolish.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, now, Sarah, but you should know better.
But you know what? You have to add in the fact that she's a teenager with access to magic.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Because everybody there's a scene in the movie where they do their little witchcraft and everybody gets a wish. And Sarah's wish is for Chris basically to like her. But Chris has already lied about her like 30 minutes into the movie. Yeah. I mean 15 minutes into the movie. I'm like, girl, leave that boy alone. So she was naive. She played the role very good. But her character, I was like, you should have known better. She wises up pretty quick to like him being a jerk. But then she makes the wish. And I was like, girl. But she does seem like the level-headed one of the group. But she's not quite level-headed to break away from the group when she sees they getting a little too much. Yeah. Until it's too late. But I liked the character overall.
I liked Sarah's character. I liked the fact that she had the Harry Potter thing going on where she was naturally gifted. Okay. She just didn't realize it. And the freaky things. There's a moment when she's talking to the girls when she talks about how does she know she's a witch. And she's talking about just random things that she wished happened but didn't actually happen the way that she exactly wanted it to. Right. Like she one time wished that it would be somebody would shut up or be completely silent, and then she like went deaf for 3 days. Yeah. Or something like that. So I like the fact that she was naturally gifted. She just wasn't aware of how to use her powers.
You're right. That was a cool aspect of her.
I like the backstory they gave her, not the fact that her mom died in childbirth, but I like the fact that
I forgot that she died so like didn't know her mom at all.
Yeah, I totally forgot that she didn't know her mom. I was
like, oh, she was like literally a baby.
Yeah, she had no idea who her mom was.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
But I did like the fact that her mom was a witch.
I did like that. And it just didn't come out of nowhere.
And that kind of came into play at the end.
Yes.
A little bit where you're not sure whether it's her mom or it's Manon that assists in the end.
You know what's interesting? You mentioned Harry Potter. Harry Potter's parents didn't really know his parents either. She's Harry Potter.
Yeah, and they were also witches. Yeah, so I like that she had that going on. I did like her character. I liked she wasn't a pushover. She was rude to Chris in the beginning when he first introduced himself to her. Yeah. But that's because everybody was being rude to her.
She did have a good, she had a good sarcastic personality about her.
Yeah, so she wasn't completely a pushover until the witchcraft got a little too scary for her. Yeah. But before then, she at least had some agency.
She did. I would agree with that. She did seem like, the rest of the characters weren't not smart, but she did seem to have she was thinking a little one step ahead. I feel like, and she seemed like she was a little maybe more book smart, maybe because she was a natural witch, maybe.
And that's kind of a overall thought I'll say now that I liked about her character, but I liked about all of them. Yeah, I liked how much in this movie witchcraft requires the reading.
Yes,
and studying,
and they're learning as they go.
And they enjoy doing it. Every time they get together, one of them whips out a book. And they're talking about a new spell that they read up on.
Correct.
Like, there's a lot of studying and reading and books that goes into witchcraft. I like the fact that it requires you to do the work. You can't just be Wanda and have spells with no incantations. You actually have to
be no Wanda either.
You got to open the book every now and then.
Right. I did like that because they go to the bookstore quite at least like 3 or 4 times in this movie to go get some new supplies. And rations or whatever I think Bonnie says and books. And
I love Wanda, but I love the fact that in this type of magic
everybody
where
can't
it's
be Wanda.
Right, where it's not like wavy magical witch fingers, they actually have to like explain. They got to give you more lore,
right?
To tell you how this
works. You got to take an ACT for witches.
I love that fact about that. But yeah, that's all I have. My notes I have about Sarah. Let's talk about Nancy.
If you didn't know, Nancy is the antagonist of this movie, but she don't start out that way.
No, I actually really, really, really like Nancy in the beginning.
I was gonna say to the end.
Yeah,
to the end. Nancy is very she's a good. Although somebody did a counterpoint and saying, was Nancy really a good friend, or was Nancy just trying to use the other girls for her end goal? And I was like,
I think Nancy,
because they needed 4, right? They needed 4. Was Nancy just trying to keep them around until she got her ultimate power?
I think Nancy was a good friend.
Okay,
but I think Nancy is one of those people who just shouldn't have power.
Oh, fair enough.
There are and I don't think that's Nancy's fault. There are people who are put in awful situations.
Her home life was trash,
and they should not be given like. Yeah. They should not be giving the Darkhold.
Rochelle literally calls her white trash. And I was just like, dang, girl,
I think Nancy
friend.
had a horrible life, horrible upbringing.
She did.
And because she had access to power, I think it was easier for her to turn to the dark side.
Agree. So the acting from Fairuza Balk is excellent in this. Perfect casting. She played Nancy up, through, down, left, right, upside, 90 degrees, 40 degrees, don't matter.
Fun fact, after this movie was she had to fight off a lot of accusations that she was actually a witch because she was so good in this film, and they had started like rumors around the set.
She was an actual witch?
Yeah. She did actually purchase like a witch shop.
Oh, that's just practice.
I mean, because you got money, why not buy a store? Especially if it's something that, that means something to your career.
Right. I mean, I don't see, just because she bought the store don't mean she
Francis Ford Coppola bought a winery. They don't call him a drunk. So
do they? No, I'm just playing.
But yeah, she did have to fight off a lot of like, she was so good in this role that people thought that she was a witch.
She's very good. And I like that Nancy definitely comes off like kind of rude, but that's just her persona. But they accept Sarah pretty quickly, and I don't know if they accept Sarah because they like, oh, this our witch, or they accept Sarah like because she gets wronged by Chris pretty quickly, and they know how that feels, and they're the outcast and all that. But she accepts her into the group, and they seem like you said, they seem like genuine friends, and Nancy is definitely the glue essentially that holds them all together.
Nancy, I would say that Nancy is a good friend.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of Sarah's magic. Because Nancy did not believe that Sarah was a real witch until after they killed the guy on the street in San Francisco.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Up until that point,
homeless guy got hit by a car.
Sorry,
homeless guy.
Up until that point, she believed that Sarah was, because she believes that like Sarah's faking it. Even when they're sitting in the park and Sarah's talking about like, even after they kill the guy, and they're sitting in the park and Sarah's talking about like all the weird magic things that happened to her.
She's like, I don't believe it.
She's like, I don't believe it.
It seemed like she don't really believe her till after that. And then we find out that Chris lied about sleeping with Sarah, and Nancy feels bad.
But before she actually believed that she had magic, she did warn her about Chris. And they were
right
nice.
Out the gate.
They were nice to her about her attempted unaliving.
Yes.
So
she, I mean, like I said, they accepted her, and the 3 of them, Nancy, Bonnie, and Rochelle, are obviously tight.
Yeah.
So they accept. I mean, obviously for plot, speed, and reasons, they had to, but they accept her into the group, and they get their witching on pretty quickly.
Yeah. So I really like Nancy's character. The best thing about her character, well, outside of just her portrayal, she was the only character I feel like they put costuming work into.
Nancy looks like a witch.
Yeah.
And I mean, sorry to actual.
She's the only one in the group that has that
stereotype, but
who has that gothic look to her.
There it is, gothic. Yeah. That's the word. Maybe I should say witch. She looks very gothic.
She's the only one in the makeup and in the patent leather. She's wearing the shoes.
Hair super dark.
Yes.
And she's definitely got the look. You're right. Everybody else looks pretty normal, actually.
So she's probably my favorite character in the film.
To the end. Yes.
Okay.
I would say I like Sarah and Nancy together equally because how they bounce off each other and how their relationship degrades is very good.
They're like Glinda and the Wicked Witch.
Boom. There it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about Bonnie.
So Neve Campbell plays Bonnie. Mm-hmm. Bonnie is significant in this movie. Her peril is the fact that she has scars on her body. Mm-hmm. So she stays covered up. She's very shy, insecure about her looks and whatnot. Neve Campbell did good in this.
Yeah.
Bonnie is very I don't want to call Bonnie. She's like the
100% opposite of Sydney.
Yes.
She's like not strong.
Quiet, reserved, keeps to herself, but when Bonnie get her scars taken off, Bonnie is like, listen, look at me, I am here. Yeah. She definitely did a 180, almost to her own peril. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you can understand somebody who has been stricken with burns all their life, and then the burns are gone. She's like, I want to, be a normal person. So she played that role. I felt really bad for Bonnie to the end because she said something to Sarah after they all break up, and she get real like she's smelling her own stuff, and I'm like, hold on, girl. Yeah. You was just covered up a minute ago. Now you can show some shoulder. I'm gonna need you to calm down.
But I mean, this is the age-old tale of oppressed people finally getting power, which I mean, they deserve. Right, it was her power. She deserved to, not have her scars and have a little. And not be treated
like, they treated all four of them like trash, like the high school kids. Yeah. Treat them like trash, so you can see why. But it's kind of like, be a little humble, just a little bit.
I liked Bonnie in this movie. I liked the fact that she was the first person to encounter Sarah.
She was. I forgot about that too.
She was an immediate believer.
I mean, she saw, because she sees Sarah balancing a pencil without touching it, and that's when Bonnie was like, "This our witch."
Yeah, it's funny the parallel of watching, because I watch Scream like all the time, several times a year, and I don't watch Craft that often, so I don't see Neve in other roles often.
You're
so right. Seeing her as Bonnie, it was very funny. Watching her play the exact opposite of like a strong character who was like the lead and the story depends on her. She's like 100%. She looks the same.
She does look the same. She just got, her hair is maybe more stringy, but it's still long and black, and she still looks like Neve Campbell.
And I really liked her character turn after she got her scars removed.
I mean, she was like,
she got her confidence. I didn't like her character, but I liked the way her character.
She was flipping.
I didn't like her character after the turn, but I liked the way her character developed. It was very believable.
I like you know what else I like about this movie? It's not over sexualized. So when Bonnie does get her scars taken off or removed, she wears, instead of wearing a long sleeve sweater, she has on a short sleeve white top, and it's like, okay,
right.
But in that,
like you're in uniform
in that time, right, because the school has uniforms, so she couldn't do too much. But even in the outside of school scenes, Bonnie's not like in a crop top with her cleavage out, with her butt cheeks showing. Yeah. She's literally just wearing regular clothes. And it's like, that's funny that she's like, she feels free in just the most basic of clothing. So that was nice.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so last member of the coven, Rochelle.
Rochelle was my favorite. Not favorite, like,
just second favorite for me.
Second favorite because she's a black girl. She was going through her thing, and with her turn, like when she got her wishes, which was basically Laura, the racist nemesis of this movie, hair falling out. I was 100% on Rochelle's side. Also because Rochelle and Bonnie both, when Nancy started taking it too far, you could tell they were kind of like, we shouldn't be going along with this, but we kind of are because we a little power hungry. I don't know. Rochelle was just unfairly treated because of her skin color, and I can relate. And I was just kind of like, go Rochelle, go.
I really liked Rochelle's character. She's my second favorite.
Yes.
Second favorite to Nancy. Okay. Only because I like a villain. But Nancy was like a really good character actor in this movie. I liked Rochelle's character. She was nice.
She was very nice.
Even when she didn't need to be. She was nice throughout the entire film.
She was too nice.
She was the only one who didn't go completely to the dark side for me at the end. She was the only one who still...
You could tell she was conflicted.
Even when Nancy sent her upstairs to finish Sarah off, Rochelle kind of protested. But I like the fact that even when they did their wishes, Rochelle could have wished for any type of vengeance upon Laura. Yeah. And the only thing she wished for was, if something bad to happen to Laura, if Laura does not leave me alone. Which I love the fact that the spell Rochelle they left it up in the hands of the victim to choose their own
if
fate.
She don't bother me, she can be fine.
And technically, she wasn't wrong for that because Laura got what she deserved.
She sure did. When there's a scene where Laura's like losing, she got like strands left at this point, and Rochelle looks at her and Rochelle feels bad. I was like, don't girl.
And I kind of didn't get why Rochelle's reflection wouldn't look at her, because I did not feel that Rochelle was wrong in that situation.
Yeah, I didn't either. Like,
she did not cast a spell on Laura that made Laura lose all her hair.
Yeah.
What she did was she casted a spell on herself. She didn't want to do unto others as what was done unto her.
Right.
And
she
could have
wanted people to be nice, essentially.
Listen, much better than me, because I would have. I mean, I'm not even going to say what kind of curse I would have put on Laura, but it would have been an offensive one.
Her teeth out.
It would have been like
teeth, hair.
I would have given her some cruciatus or something.
Because Laura literally says, if you've never seen this movie, Laura literally says to Rochelle, because Rochelle was like, "Why are you picking on me? Like, what is the issue?" And Laura literally says, "Because I don't like negroids." Yeah. And I'm like, first of all,
you call me a negroid.
Negroid. Excuse me. And she just says it like, that's why I don't like you, because you're black. And it was just like,
I'm so sorry, but it is
whatever happens.
It's Avada Kedavra for you.
Like
you can't do that to
hair
me.
was the minimum, man, because she got on some ugly wig later. I'm like, you could fix that with, like, if you was in 2024, you could get a bomb wig to replace that. Teeth, hair, nails, all that had to go.
Rochelle was a saint.
She was.
Love seeing Rachel True and stuff. She's half and half legend. She was funny. She had I have a list of really good funny quotes that constantly come up.
Okay.
And like that I constantly think of, or I try to use when I can.
Okay.
One of the ones is, I don't know, I think she doesn't want to be white trash anymore, and I try to tell her, honey, you're trash. You're
right.
White.
Right. That's why I was like, Rochelle literally called Nancy white trash in this movie. And she was like, what was her? Because Nancy's wish is one of the last ones to get granted, because Nancy's wish is for power.
Yeah.
Since she wants all power of Manon, I think that's how
Manon.
Manon. And everybody else's wish is a little more down to earth. Like, I want this boy to like me. I don't want my scars. I don't want to be bullied by a racist.
And that's why it's funny when Nancy's upset that her wish is taking longer. Like, girl, you wish for so much.
You literally wish for the world.
Everybody wished for things small and practical.
That's what
you wished for, like, all the power in the world.
That's one of my notes. I was like, I like how Nancy Nancy asked for power. Everybody else was for something small for themselves. And I was like, Nancy.
Like, of course theirs came faster.
And of course yours is going to take a little time to cook.
All their spells is on Prime. You tried to order something direct from the vendor.
Custom made, okay?
So I liked Rochelle's character.
Okay.
The last few, I guess we can talk about, are just the sides, which would just be Skeet Ulrich and Christine Taylor, who played Chris Hooker and Laura.
Oh God,
who are human antagonists.
Yeah, they played the characters well. You hate Laura. You should hate Laura. You should hate Laura. If you like Laura, I don't want you to be listening to this podcast.
Separate your love from Jan and Laura. Exactly. And realize that Laura is the problem.
But she plays Laura very well. Laura doesn't even get the half of what she deserves.
Yeah.
And Chris, well, I mean, I guess he gets what he deserves. It's just, you shouldn't attempt to assault people that don't want to.
Skeet Ulrich had a great run for 1996.
Yeah.
I enjoy Skeet Ulrich in this film as an antagonist.
Yes, agreed.
And as a foil to bring the girls together. And I liked his character because his character is pretty much the catalyst for Nancy's turn.
Yeah. He definitely flips Nancy's switch.
So he serves his purpose. He's not in the whole movie.
No.
But I do like Skeet Ulrich as an actor. I mean, he's Billy Loomis, so I'll always be Billy Loomis.
He will always be Billy. He still is, actually. He ain't leaving it.
Laura, I did not enjoy her as an antagonist.
You didn't? She played the character well.
She played the character well. It was
irritating. I honestly wish she would have got more in this movie.
You know what? I enjoyed her storyline. I didn't enjoy her as a character, but I enjoyed her storyline of being a racist and getting what she got in the end.
I was going to say.
And then wanting to walk it back.
No, she could have said that.
Walk it back to Rochelle at the house party.
I forgot. She did try to be like, oh, I'm sorry for treating you how I did. And I would have been like.
I love the fact that she transitioned from beautiful locks of blonde hair to that bucket wig that she was wearing.
Listen, she had on a Party City wig by the end of this movie, and it was like, good.
And it came with the clip.
I hope your teeth come out.
The wig had a clip.
I don't know why it had a clip.
That was hilarious.
it was the worst wig. It was Party City wig for sure. So
Okay.
yeah.
So that are all the characters. Let's get into our likes and dislikes of the movie. You want to go first?
I'll start with dislikes. I don't think I have any.
Dislike? Yeah, I have no dislikes.
This movie, I mean, it's not perfect. I'm sure if I stroll through like the critics and the audience reviews of what they didn't like, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see that. But honestly, rewatching this, I was like, this is still a good movie.
One criticism, for the sake of having one to enter, is that I feel like the girls' turn after Sarah decided she wanted to leave the coven.
Yeah.
And the girls confront her in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that turn was a little quick for Bonnie and Rochelle. It made sense for Nancy because Nancy was.
I feel like they were just following Nancy though, because they were at this point.
Yeah,
you would probably be afraid of Nancy, and I'd be like, "Girl, I ain't trying to go against you." So sure, what you want us to do?
But I do feel like, I mean, afraid of Nancy is one thing, but y'all were like antagonizing this girl.
They did.
Y'all acted like y'all didn't. Y'all acted like she didn't help y'all unlock y'all powers.
They both said something to Sarah. I can't remember what the words were.
They talked about because they haunted her dreams the night before.
Yeah, and they were like,
made fun of her not being able to sleep.
Yes, I didn't like that. I was like, y'all did wrong for that. Y'all about to get it.
And they told her that she should leave the sea or leave Earth, which I think they were trying to tell her she should kill herself.
Right. And that's why I said the end get real dark because they essentially suggest that Sarah kill herself.
Yes.
It's like, y'all, this ain't
finish the job that she started.
And it's not that serious, to be very honest. Like, she don't want to be with y'all no more. It's not like she was about to rat them out for anything. So it was a little tough turn.
So my only criticism for entering criticism, I feel like their character turns were a little quick. But I do give grace for that because, like I said, there are teenagers. There are teenagers who just unlock the unlimited power of witchcraft. Right. And one of them is now a god.
Right. And it kept the tightness of the scripts.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't have to add 20 minutes of, like, them slowly, their friendship slowly falling apart. They were just like, next scene.
And when you remove the supernatural elements, it's girls who are friends falling out and then starting to bully each other at school for some random reason.
Real bad.
So
real bad.
So it does. It's human. It's believable. I like that. That's the only criticism I have, though.
Yeah, I didn't really have any. I was kind of like, this movie is good, and if they try to remake it, they shouldn't, because it would literally be pound for pound the same movie.
But they made a sequel.
Because there'd be nothing to change.
They made a sequel, and it was kind of like a requel. Kind of like Scream 5, where it was basically a reboot that exists in the same universe that pays homage to the existing characters. And it wasn't as good. I mean, you can look it up.
I read it.
Oh,
okay. I was curious after you said it last episode.
Kaylee Spaney went on to do good things for good.
She did. But if they tried to reboot this movie like today, there'd be nothing to tweak or touch. You would need to leave it alone.
It ages too well.
You would have to maybe add like social media, because it's like a high school,
and they get their spells from the internet now,
right? And they would have to add like, they spread rumors about each other on TikTok, but it'd be like, you wouldn't need to.
The best thing about witchcraft stuff, and they even do this in Agatha All Along, is witchcraft stuff is supposed to feel old. I like all the stuff is old and dusty,
tradition,
and passed down and ancient, and,
right?
And even the witches are like old. They don't look old, but the witches are like 400 years old.
Exactly.
So I like the fact that age plays a big factor in witchcraft.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree.
Other likes that I have about this, like we said, we like the writing.
Yes.
I like the character backstories we mentioned earlier. I shout out to the dialogue. They have great one-liners in this.
They do.
Rochelle's was really good, but I found this out back. You want it? I say that all the time to creep out one of my friends when the guy with the snake shows up at Sarah's
the homeless
house.
Guy?
The homeless guy.
Yes.
It was so random. They still don't really explain what that was about. Was he just drawn to her because she's a witch?
Because she is the guy he's the guy who gets killed by the car later.
They don't really explain what that was about, but it keeps bringing her snakes. I think, and Nancy says, I think it's the snakes. He must talk to snakes, or maybe he's a familiar, because Nancy, when they're about to summon Manon on the beach, Nancy talks about snakes and how important they are to witchcraft. He keeps bringing her snakes, so maybe that's it.
Okay, yeah, you're right. They didn't circle back to the homeless guy.
The movie was only 101 minutes, so they didn't have a lot of time to flesh out everything.
Fine.
But
totally fine.
I love that one-liner.
Okay,
the bees of Eastwick.
Okay.
Hilarious. We are the weirdos, mister.
I like that one.
I love that one. I want that on a shirt.
I actually think Somebody, because I was looking up stuff after this. Somebody said that they had a shirt with that they bought at like some convention or something.
Yeah.
So this explain it. The girls are going to do their seance or whatever. But
I think it's called the initiation.
There it is. Mm-hmm. And they had to take a bus because they don't got cars, which I liked.
I love the
realistic
travel.
Teenagers.
Reminded me of when we used to ride the bus to go to the mall. It was like 45 minutes away.
Exactly. So they take this long bus route. And when they get off the bus driver was like, hey, because it's for teenagers. And he's like, hey, ladies, be safe. There's weirdos out there. And Nancy says, we are the weirdos. Don't worry about us. We good. Yeah, that was a very good line.
I love We Are the Weirdos. It's so good.
I'm sure somebody probably has that on a shirt somewhere.
I think that's all of my favorite iconic one-liners in this film, but this film has a lot of them. I also like Nancy's costuming, like we mentioned. Yep. I feel like all the effort for costuming was put into Nancy's costume.
Everybody else has on quite regular clothing.
The rest of them are kind of just in uniform and regular clothing.
You're right.
Nancy's the only one that's like decked out in the leather. I love her party outfit. When she goes to the house party.
Yeah.
I love her I love that whole scene.
Straight out of which part of City clothes, okay?
Let me tell you something. If I'm at a house party.
Black.
And I see Nancy.
The way she was
descending upon our party, the way that she looks. I'm leaving.
Freshly dyed.
I'm leaving.
Jet black.
Loved it.
When they looking at her like, why is she here?
Yeah, because she wasn't invited. But I just loved her costuming. I loved her.
She looks threatening.
Yeah, I loved her crazy wig that she transitioned to after she invoked the spirit. She no longer wore the bun.
Well, because she does this thing where she goes crazy and she like tousles her hair all around and it's just sticking up. Yeah. And you're like, this witch is loose.
And my last note is the practical sets. I will say, if this movie was made in modern day,
they would CGI everything.
All of the outside stuff would be like volume. They would have they would use a backlot for maybe some of the San Francisco street scenes. Los Angeles street scenes. Mm-hmm. But like the scenes where even the scenes where they're just sitting at the park.
Well, they said that I don't know about only, they CGI the scene where they do light as a feather, stiff as a board.
That makes sense.
But as far as like the end where they have all the snakes, they said that they brought in 10,000 snakes. Yeah. But they had to CGI the snakes moving because it was cold and the snakes was like, why is we out here?
If this was made today, the beach would have been on the volume.
Probably.
The park would have been on the volume.
They at least would have went outside to the park.
I love the practicals, the set of the house.
Yes.
I love that the house was creepy.
Yeah.
Even though it was. Also,
you talking about Sarah's house?
Yeah, another note. Y'all bought a house and didn't even look at it. What was that about?
They didn't
really explain the house situation. And it was the first time they had seen it, it seemed like.
Yes. It was.
At least it was the first time the wife and Sarah had seen it. The husband knew what the house was.
It is a very old, crunchy house. Y'all call it crunchy.
They didn't explain why they moved. Sarah just says so their dad wanted to.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it was for a job, but it seemed like her dad had a maybe prominent job. I will say I liked her dad. We didn't mention really any of the parents. I liked Bonnie's mom. She was very supportive of her daughters dealing with her burns, and I liked Sarah's dad. We don't see her stepmom, I think, ever again.
Ever.
After the beginning.
Entrance scene.
Not inconsequential, but her dad at least was supportive of, taking her to school, and when she, gets assaulted, he's like trying to when Chris gets yeeted off the roof, he's very comforting to her. So I did like the parents that we saw.
I liked
except I didn't like Nancy's mama.
I liked Nancy's mom
initially.
I don't think Nancy's mom did anything wrong.
She was alcoholic.
I mean, she was an alcoholic.
And she had her daughter around the abusive
man.
But
when Nancy unalived her daddy's boyfriend, because I do think that was Nancy.
Her mom's boyfriend?
Yes. I mean, her mom's boyfriend. I do think that was Nancy. That was absolutely Nancy.
Yeah, she killed that man.
Yeah.
She gave him a heart attack, essentially.
I did not feel bad.
No.
And when he died and they got the insurance payout, which $175 in 1996,
literally,
mind-blowing.
One of my notes is
wow.
$175K LOL. Because
times have changed.
they was living a high life, and I'm like,
they moved downtown.
$175,000.
And bought a jukebox
that played only one person's music.
Yeah, because her mom had a dream. She wanted a jukebox, and she held that dream all the way into adulthood.
I just like the fact that her mom was alcoholic and had her daughter around that man. But I
like where her mom ended up, I guess.
Yes, I like the fact that they got out.
Yes.
Essentially, because Nancy killed the abusive boyfriend.
He had to go. I didn't feel bad for that. No. Honestly, I don't think I feel bad for any of the people Nancy killed.
No. So Chris also doesn't make it out of this movie. Chris sexually assaults or tries to sexually assault Bonnie Sarah.
Yes.
Sarah goes and tells them, and that's when Nancy goes off to the party that she had invited to, dressed like a witch, like a plus attire witch. Yes. And she gets angry, and Chris ends up getting yeeted out of the window off a roof, and he dies.
You can make the argument that, and you can make the valid argument that Chris is possessed. They kind of do this. They do this really well, much better. They do this much better in the Craft sequel.
Okay, interesting.
Because the girls do a spell to make one of the boys more honest.
Okay.
And the spell leads him to admitting that he's gay.
Okay.
And because that was a negative effect of the spell. He wasn't meant to reveal that part about himself yet. He killed himself.
Oh.
Or it's implied that he killed himself.
Okay.
But I won't spoil like the rest of that film. But they kind of do the same thing in the other film. But so you can make the argument that he was possessed.
Because he's under a love spell that Sarah put on him. So that's why he's acting all crazy. And why he did what he did to Sarah, because he just really wants to be with her. But
he was a piece of crap earlier.
He was before.
And Nancy kind of illustrated the fact that he had a pattern of doing that to girls in the school.
Yeah,
so.
It's hard because he's a teenager. He's under a spell. So I did feel bad that he got killed.
But he's Billy Loomis, so...
Okay, not in this, though.
I'm not going to argue that.
Oh, my gosh. So, Nancy has definitely murdered 2 people in this movie.
Yeah, no, she's a cold-blooded killer.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And she tried to take Sarah out.
And I like the fact that, they took it there. Like, they could have toned it down to where she just, like, broke somebody's leg or poked somebody's eye out. No, she's murdering people. Yeah. Like, this is serious.
This is an adult film.
It's dark. Yeah. Like I said, it get a little dark at the end. So,
did you have any other likes you wanted to point out?
Let me see. Do I have any other? I think I got over everything. I already said my use of good versus bad magic coming from the same place. And they explained that because the shopkeeper that we didn't talk about in the cast list, she basically tells Sarah, like, Nancy is using her, how do you say his name? Manon power the bad way, because Sarah's like, I don't want to invoke this guy. He turned Nancy crazy. And she's like, no. That's not how it works. Like, it depends upon the witch, how you use the power. And she's like, bet, because I need to use this for good because this girl driving me crazy.
So let's talk about the ending, and then we can do favorite line or scene.
So ending is basically the 3 girls try to get Sarah to kill herself.
After Sarah tries to secretly bind Nancy.
That was an interesting...
That wasn't smart.
Would you have thought that she would have known that she was binding her,
after she had already... I would have thought about the fact that, hey, I'm doing a secret spell on somebody who has taken on the power of Manon. Like,
maybe she didn't fully think she had.
I feel like she would know. Well, I mean, after the beach scene, I feel like that was enough.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have secretly done a spell, or I would have discussed it with the other girls first.
Well, I guess if the chick was showing up in my dreams, I might have been like, she might know everything.
Yeah, Yeah.
Okay.
So I do think it was a little foolish to try to not think that she would know that you're doing the spell.
So Sarah tries to bind Nancy, and Nancy's like, could you not do that again? And she's like, oh, me? Sorry.
And I love the fact that Nancy was like, please don't do any more magic.
Right. And she says it really nicely, and you're like,
I love that Sarah was like, what are you talking about? And Nancy's like, come on.
I know it was you.
Are we going to do this?
Right. I'm a witch goddess at this point, ma'am. Don't play with me. Yeah. So after that, they show up at her house. Well, they try to make her think her parents died in a plane crash.
That was so messed up.
They're basically fiddling with Nancy's mind. Sarah's mind real bad. They try to make her kill herself. And then Sarah finally wakes up and invokes the power that she's supposed to have and turns the tables on the rest of them.
That scene was good. Very dark, though, because after they tried to convince her that her parents died,
which was very bad.
They then start a spell talking about now's the time, let her go in peace. And I'm just like, whoa, what are we doing here? Who's going where in peace?
Right, and they just saying it over and over, and Sarah's just like,
it's like, first of all, you're not gonna do an unaliving spell to my face
while I'm sitting here
like
on the floor.
We're about to fight,
panicking.
We're about to fight for our lives in this
room.
Right,
and what's also funny about the ending is that Nancy is very irritated that Sarah is traumatized. Well, she's just supposed to take it, girl. What you mean?
You're mad that she's afraid?
Sarah's like freaking out, crying, snotting, all
y'all
that.
knew that she had issues before she was in the coven. So
right.
you're literally pressing on her weak points.
Exactly. Playing on her insecurities and her past trauma to try to get her unalive herself. Yeah. So Sarah finally invokes the power that she's supposed to have. She makes it so where Rochelle and Bonnie, because earlier in the movie they say everything you do gonna come back threefold. So we see Bonnie, and this doesn't actually happen. It just they see a mirror and it looks like it. So Bonnie looks like all her scars have come back worse because they now on her face.
Yeah.
Rochelle thinks she losing all her hair, and they freak out and leave.
Yeah, I like that the whole third act fight is mostly illusions. Yeah. They're all playing with each other.
Yep.
Because even when Sarah takes on Manon, she's tricking Nancy into attacking her in ways that are ineffective because she's not actually there. Right. So like I love the way they do the effects in this movie when she tries to stab her to death and she disappears out of her clothes.
They having a witch off, y'all.
It's so good. The witch off is so good.
It's just back and forth like witching. But they don't use like I said earlier, it's not real cheesy. We're not using like wands.
It's almost psychological.
We're not right. It's all in their mind. They're not using like, twitch your fingers with powers and stuff shooting out their hands. It's all very like mind games.
I love the snakes coming out of the faucet.
Yes.
Snakes on the windows.
Okay, that was kind of gross.
And the roaches.
I couldn't take the roaches.
I love that they were trying to creep each other out.
A creep off.
And I guess Nancy ultimately defeats herself by flying into a mirror.
Yes, so Nancy basically harms herself because she's trying to kill Sarah. Sarah's not really there, but Sarah like pops out and pushes Nancy off of her, and Nancy flies into a mirror and knocks her out essentially. But the very, very, very end is that Nancy ends up in a psych hospital
with no magic,
zero magic. Bonnie and Rochelle also zero magic, and then they got the nerve to show up to Sarah's house to make peace. And then when Sarah's like, no, thank you. Please move on about your life. They go say, oh, she probably ain't got no power no way. And then Sarah goes, how about this? And almost kills them with a tree falling from a branch.
So she makes lightning strike a tree and on a branch and almost kill them by landing in front of them.
Like, I don't think she was going to, but she definitely strategically placed
and she's moving.
Is she moving? I didn't get that they were moving because she had shopping bags in the back.
Oh, I thought I took them as moving, but
no,
they're just shopping to.
I think they came from the mall
to fill the house with stuff.
Yes, she had like because they were. I can't remember the names of the stores, but they were store shopping bags. So I think
I always thought they were moving away after that.
No, I think they stayed. Okay. It seemed like they stayed. But
I mean, there's no reason for her to move now.
She because she was a natural witch,
right?
So she still had powers, and basically Rochelle and Bonnie got to go off and be powerless and learn how to be good human beings again,
right?
And Nancy stuck in the psych ward. Sarah is happily ever after.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's implied that she doesn't go bad because, like we said, it's what you do with the magic.
Exactly.
I like the ending. Fitting. The bad guys are either dead or in prison or locked up or in a psych ward.
Yeah, that's locked up. She locked up.
And Bonnie and Rochelle, I'm glad that they got to live.
I agree.
Because technically, other than trying to kill Sarah, which is wrong.
Right.
They didn't do anything wrong.
Sarah, though, was like, I'm not being y'all friends. You mean you want me to be y'all friends after y'all try to kill me? And they were like, I mean, we were just, it was just magic. She was like, y'all tried to kill me.
Because essentially you're fair weather friends.
Yeah.
You'll go wherever the power is.
Exactly.
You came with me because y'all thought that I could get y'all magic, and I did.
Because I was a fourth witch.
And then when I had helped y'all out and y'all were good on your own because y'all decided y'all didn't need a fourth witch anymore. That's what y'all said in the bathroom. Y'all turned on me. So
yeah, she was just
people you can trust.
Sarah was justified in kicking them to the curb.
Yeah.
And I don't even know why they showed up at her house. Like, y'all should have just nodded at each other in the hallway and kept it moving.
Favorite liner scene, I would say, is the party scene.
Okay.
When Nancy does the turn and kills Skeet Ulrich. I think it's really well acted. But I also like the beach scene when they summon Manon and they wake up in the morning and we get the shot of Nancy walking across the ocean.
Dead animals.
I think
on
that
the beach.
is one of I always remember it. It's iconic.
It is.
It's one of the scenes I always think about when you're talking about a character's turn.
Yeah.
That's when you know she's on the dark side.
Dead animals. Like, not even live. It's just dead animals.
I mean, walking on the water was the first Omen. Like,
she
nobody else should do that.
That CGI was a little wonky.
Right.
I was like, is she? Oh, okay. She's Jesus.
That's never a good omen when you see somebody else do that.
No, never.
Did you have a favorite line or scene?
Oh, this is hard because there's so many scenes that I think I like the end fight scene the best because Sarah is really tweaking tweaking Nancy out. And Nancy's trying to fight back, but it's funny because Nancy's supposed to be like this all-powerful witch now, but Sarah like doing her in. She got roaches coming out her hands. She turns her hands into snakes. And then Nancy, like, she shakes her head and she kind of gets out of it, but Sarah ain't done with her yet. Yeah. She just keep going and going. So the last fight scene would probably be my favorite because it's a witch off.
It's kind of like Agatha and Wanda. It's the season finale of WandaVision where you got Agatha who has all the power and it's going like head first after Sarah,
right?
Which would be Agatha would be Nancy in the situation,
exactly.
And Sarah who is just kind of like at the last minute deciding to fully embrace her witchiness and take on Nancy, and she beats her because she's she's more gifted,
right? And I like the fact that she didn't kill Nancy; she just put her in the psych ward, which
just like Wanda, she didn't kill Agatha; she bound her.
Right. So, I don't know if the psych ward was better or worse, but
Nancy needed to talk to somebody.
I don't think she was
now
talking.
She's getting the help that she needs.
I don't think. If you watch that final scene, I don't think she can help. I just think she in the bed getting shots all day, talking to herself.
Okay, so
but she deserved it, so whatever.
Do we have any other random notes you wanted to shout out?
My random note was $175K, but we already talked about that because I was like, now I'm not doing the math on this, but at 1996 was $175K that much? It must have been.
I have a couple notes. So I like the cold open effects.
Okay.
The flashy pictures and the fire explosion and the craft title shot coming over above the clouds. I was like, this is so nice.
It's very 1996.
I loved it.
Yep. I do have one though. I found it. Go ahead. I was gonna say the noose in the locker was crazy. Why did Nancy have a noose in her locker?
It's nuts.
For no reason. I was like, your friend's black. Why do you have a noose? It's never.
And the fact that it probably never came across her mind that was like probably inappropriate to have because her friend is Rochelle. Nancy's just off her rocker.
It literally never shows back up in the movie ever.
Because Nancy's just nuts.
Never. I was like, are we gonna go back?
She probably does. It probably didn't even occur to her like, I have a black friend and a noose in my locker.
It's huge. I was like, this girl's crazy.
Nancy's just off her rocker. Non-invasive does not count for a medical procedure when it's 1,000 needle pricks.
You know what? I greatly disliked this scene. The Desperate Housewife lied about that. I really disliked the scene when I first saw this movie just because you could tell Bonnie in so much pain. And I almost muted it when I rewatched it.
The scream is loud.
She screams extremely loud because she's in so much pain. I was like, I forgot I hated this scene. Yeah. Oh, it's so bad. It's so terrible. You feel so bad for her.
I did not catch all the times I watched the film. Yes. I did not catch that the doctor from Desperate Housewives. She was the housewife that killed herself.
Yeah.
I did not catch that she said it's non-invasive.
She does. It's like
okay. So you didn't put a scalpel in her.
I don't know why she didn't get put to sleep.
All those needle pricks does not count as non-invasive.
Now that I watch this, I'm like, now why didn't y'all just put her on the anesthesia?
I don't know why she couldn't be asleep either.
It just added to the
90s medicine.
The sorrow that you felt for Bonnie for all the pain she was going through.
Like I said, I like how much reading is involved, and Rochelle is a much better black witch than I am because I would have rained vengeance upon all of my enemies.
Listen, homegirl would have had no teeth, no toenails. Her fingers probably would have been black.
Avada Kedavra.
Something. Oh, and I do have another random note. There was no reason for them to keep attacking Sarah at the end. They could have left that girl alone. And we already talked about that.
No, after they confronted her in the bathroom, she would have left them alone.
She literally would have avoided them at all costs. So I don't know why they felt like they had to go further and go to that girl's house and do all that they did. That's why they deserved it. Yeah. Because they should have just left her alone.
They should have just left. They had their magic. Like they said, they didn't need a fourth witch.
They also probably wouldn't have lost their magic if they left her alone.
That is also
But they were too power hungry and they needed to take it away.
Because I'm assuming she bound them after she finished dealing with Nancy. Because they didn't explain why they lost their magic.
She probably
so
did.
I'm assuming she bound them right after which I would, because y'all showed up at my house. Y'all have to be bound.
And then made me think my parents was dead.
I can't leave you alone.
It's crazy.
Out in the world to do this to me or anybody else.
Them girls, sorry. They deserved it. At the end, it was like, y'all was cool right up until it was, we playing mind games and I can't sleep and I think my family dead. Sorry, gotta go.
Okay, so how are we going to rate this?
We could do our Nicole Kidmans.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it 5.
I'll give it a 5.
Yeah, it still holds up.
It still holds up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any dislikes. This was a fun time.
Don't either.
This is a great use of an hour and 41 minutes. It is a great use of $15 million.
Listen. I mean, I'm sure $15 million back then was like $100 million now, based on 175,000 conversion. But I mean,
acting.
They made their money back, so good for them.
Good acting, practical effects. The story was tight.
Yeah,
we got time to spend with each character. They kept the cast small, which allowed us time to spend with each character.
Yes,
there's only 4 people in the movie. And it's a really good time. And it's a cult classic. And it has impact even to this day. I mean, literally, it is in the end credits of Agatha, Nancy killing Skeet Ulrich.
Oh, is that in that too?
And her toes sliding across the carpet.
Oh, the toes.
That's Nancy.
Well, I know the toes thing. I didn't see the Skeet Ulrich one.
That's the scene. Sorry.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Mm-hmm. The other scene that's in the end credits is the 4 of them when they get their glow up. The walk. Yes. That's also in the end credits.
So the slow motion walk after they get their powers and do the initiation.
So there's two scenes in the Agatha All Alone then.
And the song is the opening credit sequence for Charmed. So I mean, this is aged like wine. It's so good. The Craft is still such a great film.
Classic for sure.
So if you don't have it on physical, absolutely get it on physical.
If you've never seen it, go watch it right now.
Yeah, but watch The Craft. We loved it. We're going to give this 5 Nicole Kidmans.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts if you have seen it, if you haven't seen it and are going to watch it. And then if you've seen the sequel, Jay's seen it. I have not.
I've seen the sequel.
Let us know how you feel about the sequel as well, because that one didn't make it to cult classic status.
It's a requel. It doesn't. It didn't make it a cult classic status because it does the exact same as the first film. It modernizes it. It doesn't do the whole we're finding spells off the internet thing. Okay. They still stick to the witchiness, the coven. I would say the sequel. Here's what I love about the sequel. Okay. There is no Nancy. They're girlfriends all the way into the end of the film.
Okay, that's good.
The friendship, they're a coven. I mean, they have like a fallout because they're like friends, and friends have like fallouts. Of
course.
But they stick to being a friend group in a coven. Okay. The enemy is outside of the coven. Oh, okay. And I do like the fact.
And it's recent. It just came out like 2020, right?
Yeah.
I didn't realize the sequel. When you said sequel, I don't know why I thought it was going to be something way older, but it's not even that old.
I believe it went straight to streaming.
Okay.
I believe you can find it on Amazon, maybe.
Sure.
But I do like the sequel because it's pretty much the same movie. It rearranges some of the story elements, but I do like the fact that they keep the coven, and the betrayal does not come from within.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. So Jay is also recommending the sequel of The Craft. It's called The Craft Legacy?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's called Legacy because there are connections to the original Craft film.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. So that wraps up all our retro review for The Craft. What are we watching next week? I don't know.
We don't know.
We got an open spot. We about to hit a bit of a lull with movies.
Yeah.
At least big blockbuster movies.
Movies don't typically come out around Halloween season.
Right. Now, you know what's coming out next week that you told me I can't watch? It's Smile 2.
I mean, if you want to watch Smile.
But is it going to be that scary?
It is.
I should probably not, because after we watched that clip of it.
You don't like ghouls.
That thing, it was in a corner. I was thinking about that later.
You don't like ghouls, and the Salem 7 freaks you out in Agatha.
They twitch a little too much for me. You're right.
The Smile is a lot of seeing like the ghoulish bodies of like the victims, the previous Smile victims.
Dang it.
I hear it's really good though.
I don't know. Let's see if I can.
We can think about it.
I can build up some courage.
I was gonna put Salem's Lot on the list, but it's not getting really good reviews.
Oh,
So I might just watch it independently.
Maybe we can find another retro spooky to watch, or something that came out recently that we haven't seen. Because some of the scary movies passed us by because we were doing other stuff.
That's true.
Like the one with Melissa Barrera and Giancarlo Esposito. Where's that? The little girl was a vampire. Mm-hmm. We didn't see that.
We could do Abigail.
Okay. We might visit.
Or we could do Freaky.
Okay.
That is basically the Freaky Friday.
Did you seen Freaky already?
I have seen Freaky.
Okay.
I mean, but we've seen The Craft.
We gotta do something that we both ain't seen.
Okay, so we can do Abigail.
We'll think
or something else.
We'll figure it out. Okay. You'll know in our next episode.
Thanks for listening.
Mm-hmm.
If you like our show, please share it. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on our website at vaguelynerdypodcast.com, where you can also leave us a voice message and we'll play it on the show if it's nice.
Better be nice.
If it's not nice, we'll think about it. If it's not nice,
we will do it if I can do a rebuttal. That's the only thing.
Or a rebuttal, yes. Yeah. You can follow us on Twitter at vaguelynerdypod and IG at vaguelynerdypodcast. You can also follow us on Threads at vaguelynerdypodcast as well.
Yep.
And you can reach us at vaguelynerdypodcast@gmail.com. You can also watch an animated format of our podcast on YouTube on our YouTube channel, Vaguely Nerdy Podcast.
All right. Until next time.
Bye.
Peace.